So let me give you an example of a work problem. Take this example. Peter can mow the lawn in 40 minutes and John can mow the lawn in 60 minutes. How long will it take for them to mow the lawn together? Now, one of the common mistakes that students make when solving these kinds of problems is that they add the times that the two persons work. So for example, in this case, they might add 60 plus 40 and that will give them a value of 100, which does not make any sense because one person alone can finish the job in 40 minutes, right? So if he got help from another person, then that will lessen the time, not prolong the time. Like it's not gonna be 100 minutes. Now, another common mistake that students make is that they will average the times for the two people. So in this case, they're going to average 40 and 60, they'll get 50 minutes, which again does not make sense because one person alone can finish the job in 40 minutes, right? So why on earth would adding one person to do the job gives you a longer time for them to work together, right? So yeah, so the clue in here is that if one person can do it in 40 minutes, then definitely if you add another person to do the job, that will lessen the time. So you would expect that the time for them to work together would be less than 40. Okay, so how do we solve these kinds of problems? Now, there's actually a formula or an equation that we can always go to when solving these kinds of problems. So for two people or two persons working on some job, then the formula would be 1 over, so the formula would be 1 over t sub 1, and t sub 1 means time for person 1, plus 1 over t sub 2, the time for the second person, equals 1 over t, and this t right here stands for the total time if they work together. Okay, so that's the formula that we're going to go to in solving these kinds of problems. And in fact, we can extend this idea to, to more people working on the same job together. You can have 3 people working, 4, and so on. But for this example, we have 2 people. Okay, so that's solved. So time 1 for Peter, 40 minutes. Okay, so that's going to be 1 over 40. Plus time for John is 60 minutes. So we can have 1 over 60 right here equals 1 over the total time if they work together. So as you can see, this is a rational equation. Okay, now how do we solve rational equations? Well, we can solve it directly by getting rid of the denominators, right? So as you can see, on the left-hand side, we have a 40 in the denominator, and we also have a 60 in the denominator. And on the right-hand side, we have t in our denominator. So we want to get rid of all these denominators. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply both sides by 40, okay, by 40, so that we can get rid of this 40 here. And then we also have to multiply by 60, so we can get rid of the 60 here. And also, we have to multiply both sides by t, because we also want to get rid of this denominator. Okay, so we multiply by t. Okay, or if you know how to use the LCD to solve these kinds of problems, you can also do that. Now, since I multiplied by this amount on the left side, I'm also going to do that on the right side. So I'm going to multiply 40, 60, and t. Okay, now the next step is to distribute this factor over to our terms. So we'll get 40 times 60 times t divided by 40. So that's this one right here. And then we're going to add plus 40 times 60 times t over 60. So that's this times that. And then here we'll have equals 40 times 60 times t over t. And then we're going to make the appropriate cancellations. So we can cancel out 40, we can cancel out 60, and we can cancel out t. So what we're left with is 60 times t plus 40 times t equals 40 times 60, which is 2,400. Again, if you know how to use LCD to solve this rational equation, you can also do that. Anyway, using the LCD only makes the numbers smaller, okay? But in essence, you're doing the same thing, okay? So what we have here is 60t plus 40t. These are common terms, okay? So that means we can add these things. So we have 100t equals 12,400. And let's divide both sides by 100. Cancel out the 100. And what we're left with is t equals 24. And that is our final answer. So that means if they work together, they can finish the job in just 24 minutes, which makes sense because Peter alone can do it in 40 minutes. How much more if John helped Peter? So the answer is 24 minutes. Okay, let's have another example. It takes Maria 10 hours to pick 40 bushels of apples. Kayla can pick the same amount in 12 hours. How long will it take if they work together? Round your answer to the nearest hundreds. Okay. So again, take note of the time. Okay. In fact, we're going to use the same equation. Take note of the time. So Maria can work 10 hours. Okay. 10 hours. So now you can ignore 40 for the meantime because it says here that Kayla can pick the same amount. So that means they're working on the same job. Okay, just like with the previous example, they're working on the same job. Here, they're also working on the same job, so you can just ignore this number right here. Okay, so that gives us 1 over 10, that's for Maria, plus 1 over 12 for Kayla. And then we're asked to find the total time if they work together. So again, just like what we did in the previous example, let me move it right here. So just like what we did in the previous example, we're going to get rid of the denominators, right? So we're going to multiply by 10, by 12, and by t. Same goes to the right hand side, 10 by 12 by t. Again, if you know how to use LCD to solve these kinds of problems, you can do that. That will only lessen the numbers that we're going to deal with, but the process is just the same. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to distribute this factor over to our terms. So what we have is 10 times 12 times t over 10 plus 10 times 12 times t over 12 equals 10 times 12 times t over t. And then make cancellations. So 10 divided by 10, 12 divided by 12, t divided by t. And what we get is 12 times t plus 10 times t equals 10 times 12, which is 120. We can combine like terms. This will give us 22t equals 120. And then we can divide both sides by 22. And that will give us t equals 120 divided by 22, which is equal to 5.45 hours. So that is our final answer. So if they work together, they can do it in 5.45 hours.